Hi everyone. Today we will learn about registers. You know what? You have heard about this word in many contexts. What is basically registered? For example, or take attendance register. What we are actually having it, we are maintaining your attendance, that is your presence and absence. Similarly, if you take a stock register of any laboratory, you will be having all your laboratory equipment details in your registry. So indirectly, what does it mean? A register is used to store something. The same way, in digital terminology, register is a circuit which is used to store information. So, if that is used to store information means, so what does actually register consist of? Obviously, flip flops. So, a group of one or more flip flops we usually call it as register. So, if you take a counter, there is one or more flip flops connected together. In register also, you will have more than one flip flops used to store n bit of information, but keep it in mind, one flip-flop is used to store only one bit. Suppose if you want to store 5 bits, you require a 5 flip-flops connected in some fashion. And those kind of group of flip-flop, we call it as registers. And we have also a new terminology called shift register. The shift means actually the movement of data. The data movement, either in left fashion or right fashion, we call it as data shift. That's why in those registers are called as shift registers. I'll take you all in this session through a set of presentation slides where we'll be discussing about the types of shift registers and its operations. So, as I already told you, a register is a memory device that can be used to store more than one bit of information. So, we'll use the register basically for two different functions. To major, we'll be using only these two functions. One is data storage, another one is your data movement. Data storage, you know what it is, and data movement, we'll learn now what it is. Now, shift registers means the data will get shifted from one flip flop to another flip flop based on the movement of direction of movement. We are classifying the registers into four categories called serial in, serial out, serial in, parallel out, parallel in, serial out, and parallel in, parallel out. Usually, we'll be using D flip flop. We'll discuss why later. Now this is the overall block diagram of a shift register. Just follow whatever I say now. Each block, that means each cube, represents a flip flop. So here we have assumed that we have four blocks. So we assume there are four flip flops connected together. Now if you are giving input like this, let me take an highlighter here. Suppose if you are giving input like this is your serial data input. Okay, you can either feed the data like this or you can feed the data like this. So this will call it as serial data input because we are giving input in serial fashion. Here we are calling it as parallel data input. That means you are giving the data in parallel fashion. Clear? So all these four are registers. So four registers are, I mean four. All these are four flip flops and those are connected together. Each flip flop is used to store one bit of information. Is it clear? Now, what are the four different fashions possible means? Either you can give input serially, you can give the input serially, and you can take the output serially. This is one fashion. Either you can give input serial, and then you can take the output serially. That means the data will be traveling from this end to this end. So this, in this type of register, we'll be calling it as serial input serial output register. This is first register type. Okay, and the second register is, say you can give your input serially and you can take your output parallelly. So this is your second category where we'll be calling the data the register as serial input parallel output register. Okay, that is your second category. Third category is you can give your input data input as parallelly and you can take the output serially, and this is your third classification where we'll call this as parallel input serial output register. And the last classification is nothing but you can give the input parallelly and you can take the output also parallelly. This is your fourth classification and that is called as parallel in and parallel output registers. Now I repeat, so there are four different possible ways of feeding and taking the data input and output respectively. The first one is serial input and serial output, where the data will be traveling like this. Okay. Next one is serial input and parallel output, where the data will be traveling like this. Then you can give it as parallel input and serial output, data will be traveling like this, and parallel input and parallel output means it will be like this. Now this is your this shows you the all possible operations available in a shift registers. The first one, it is serial in and serial output. This both are serial and serial output, but the data movement is on your right hand side. The data movement is on your left hand side. So we call this a shift right or shift left. And then similarly, this is parallel input and serial output. This is serial input and parallel output. This is parallel input and parallel output. And if you connect your output of the last flip flop to the input of the first flip flop, you can make the input data get rotated. So in this way, this is rotate to the right operation and this is rotate to the left operation. Now we'll have in detail what are the functions of four different registers. The first one is SI/SO register. Now if you see here, I have taken a 4 bit as information, so I require 4 flip flops. This is flip flop A, flip flop B, flip flop C, and flip flop D. Clear? Now what I am going to do is, I am going to give the input, serial input like this. So I am going to give the input like this. So this output is connected as input for the next one. Output is connected as such, output is connected as such, and we are going to take the output here. So this is your input side and this is your output side. Now the data, see the data, how it is traveling. The data is traveling serially. So we call this as serial input and serial output. Clear? And all the clock pulses will be connected simultaneously. All the clock pulses will be applied simultaneously. That's why all the clock pins are connected together. Now this is shown in the following GIF file. Now just look at here. Now when it is the clear state, 1001 is input, that 1001 moves in step. Look at this operation. This is the waveform for your serial in serial out register. This is your clock pulse and this is your data. Now all these four are outputs of each flip flops. Okay. Now assume this is your first flip flop, second flip flop, third flip flop, and your fourth flip flop. Okay. When I give the first clock pulse, first flip flop alone will be active. So assume this is your data. Now you have data as 1010. We will focus only on this data now. Now you take this one. Now at this clock pulse, say I am going to have a positive edge triggering. At this clock pulse, one comes to the first flip flop. Second clock pulse, that one comes to the second flip flop. Third clock pulse, it goes to the third output, and fourth clock pulse, it goes to the last case. Correct? So you can see that the data is getting shifted serially. Look at this example again. This data is getting shifted serially, and first clock pulse it comes over here, second clock pulse it comes here, third clock pulse it comes here, and then fourth clock pulse it will be coming over here. Is it clear? Now just look at this flip-flop operation. I don't want the data to get changed. I want the data to be fixed and it has to be safely transmitted from this to that end. So in that case, I can use only D flip-flop because that is the only flip-flop which will directly pass away the input whichever is given to it. I told you that there is a purpose of this flip-flop. I hope you have understood what is the purpose of D flip-flop here. Next one is serial and parallel registers. The data is given serially here and you will be taking the output parallelly. That means you will be taking output from each flip-flop. See, from each flip-flop you are taking output QA, QB, QC and QD. So when you give data here, for the first clock pulse it will come out over QA. For second clock pulse it goes to QB like that. Look at this operation to understand. Now assume that 1001 is my input. For the first clock pulse 1 comes here, then it moves over the last one. Look at this point. Focus. Next one is your serial in parallel out is over. Next we'll go to parallel in serial out registers. This is a bit complex register because we require an additional circuit to make this parallel input to get travel to serial output. That additional circuit is represented by means of a multiplexer. You will have a more understanding when we discuss about the last type of resistor. This circuit is nothing but an extra circuit, that is nothing but a mux circuit, which is given detailed over here. I am giving you this as an assignment because I want you to check how it works by giving the values 1 and 0 here. The assignment for you is give some value for d0, d1, d2, d3. Say for example, you give values 1, 0, 0 and 1, and you use 1 as the signal here and check what is happening here. And then when you give 0, you check what is happening here. That is an assignment for you to understand by yourself. I'm just giving you a lead to proceed. The last one is parallel in parallel shift register, where the datas are given parallelly. That means datas are given separately to each flip-flops and datas are taken separately outside across each flip-flop. This is called parallel in and parallel out shift registers. The last one is universal shift register. The name itself tells you universal means this shift register encompasses all your four operations like serial in, serial out, parallel in, parallel out, serial in, parallel out and parallel serial out into a single operation. And this is your overall circuit diagram for your universal shift register. At the first instant, it might look you as a very complex circuit, bit confusing, but when you understand the operation one by one, it is actually a very simple one. We'll go one by one. Okay, you follow the steps which I am going to tell now. Now look at the bottom, you have four flip-flops here, d3, d2, d1 and d0 are four flip-flops. This is nothing but your clock is connected together. You have four outputs q3, q2, q1 and q0. I am just having an extra circuit. I hope you remember what is this circuit. You have two lines called S0 and S1. You have many inputs and a single output. So what it is? Yes, you're right. It is a mux. So you have a mux connected across all the inputs, correct? Across each flip-flop, I have separate mux. Mux 1, mux 2, mux 3 and mux 4. And all your select lines are connected together so that when I give select line 0, 0, in all the mux 0 will be selected. When I give 0, 1, one input of all the mux will be selected. For 1, 0, 2 will be selected of all the flip-flops. When I give S0 equal to 1 and S1 is equal to 1, the input number 3 of all the flip-flops will be connected to your respective Y. So these are four flip-flops and there are four mux circuits. The select lines of the four mux circuits are joined together. You know what is mux? It is nothing but many inputs and a single output. This single output is connected to input of each flip-flop. See, this Y is connected to D3, this Y is connected to D2, this Y is connected to D1 and this Y is connected to D0. And this Q3, Q2, Q1 alone are connected by means of some operation. Now we'll understand what is this one by one. Okay, only four possible operations, right? When I can give S0, S1 as 0, 0, I can give 0, 1, I can give 1, 0 or I can give you 1, 1. We'll see what is happening in all the four possibilities. Now first case is I am going to give 0, 0. See, I am going to give S0 is equal to 0 and S1 is equal to 0. That means only 0 will be connected over to your Y circuit, correct? Only this point will be connected to your Y output. And the remaining 1, 2, 3 will be left off, correct? Look at the circuit. Only when this is active, there is no meaning of these lines. So I have just deleted it. So correct. So when I have after deleting it, you can see this. Look at this flip-flop. This Q3 is connected directly to 0 and that is connected to D3. This Q2 comes over here. It is connected to D2. Q1 is connected to D1. Q0 is connected to D0. That means the output of individual flip-flop is connected back to the input itself. That means what would you understand? Nothing is happening. Actually, that is the correct value. There is no change in your operation. This is the first case. So when I give input as 0 and 0, there is no change. I can say nothing, no changes are observed in your circuit. This is your first case. Now second case is this is a second case where I am going to give S0 equal to 0 and S1 is equal to 1. When I give S0 0 and S1 1, that means one value will be connected to your output. So only this will be available. Only this will be acting as a switch. and there is no connect there, the connections for a 0, 2, 3 becomes meaningless. So in this case, if I rearrange and delete all of the remaining lines, you can see that actually what is happening here is, what is happening here is the input starts flowing from here, it goes here, and it goes here, correct? And when it comes to D3, you know what D does? It actually passes the output here. This output comes over here again, it goes to D2. From Q2 comes over here to D1, it goes to Q1, comes over here D0 and Q0. So how the data is actually moving? It is moving in a serial fashion, correct? So when I give 0 and 1, what is happening? It is serial input and serial output, where the information is getting moved from left to right. That's why we are calling this as serial in, shift right. Now in this case, this is a third case where I'll take you, where we'll be assuming s not equal to 1 and s1 is equal to 0. When I take 1 and 0, that means 2 will be connected to y, correct? 2 is directly connected to y in all your mux circuit. Now we'll see the flow of the circuit. Now the data is available here. This is serial in data, okay? This data will be coming over here. It will come here, D0, it is out to Q0, again comes here, it is D2, it comes over here, comes here, Q2, comes over here, Q3, and it is available this one. So this is also serial in, serial out only, but the register movement is from right hand side to left. That's why we are calling it as serial in and shift left register. And the fourth possible one is, I am going to give the value for S0 and S1 as 1. When I give the value as 1, this third pin will be connected to Y, correct? Since this is connected to Y, these lines become active. Now just look out what is happening. What is happening? This I3 comes over here and comes to the output, correct? This is one case. And this I2 comes over to D2 and comes output as Q2. This I1 comes to D1 and appears as Q1, and at last your I0 comes over here and it goes out. So what is actually happening? The data are given being input parallelly, and the data are taken output parallelly. This is your last operation. Now we have consolidated the operation. If it is 0 0, there is no change in the operation of the register. If it is 0 1, this is shifting to the right hand side. If this is 1 0, it is shifting to the left hand side. And if it is 1 1, this is your acting as a parallel load. Additionally, if you have some more combination circuit added to this, you can also incorporate your parallel in, serial out, parallel in, parallel out, all those things. Parallel in, parallel out is already available. You can also include parallel in, parallel, serial out. Similarly, serial in and parallel out. You can also do it by adding some more combination circuit along with resistor. This explains the operation of this. And see this. These are the features of your universal resistor. And the next topic is a ring counter, which is very simple because you might confuse what is the purpose of counter. Just look at the circuit diagram, what is speciality. Now when you forget about this brown color line, you can see it is an ordinary shift register, a serial in and parallel out shift register, right? Now in this, what I am going to do is I am going to connect, just look at this important change here. I am going to connect this output. Let me take a different color. Now the output is directly connected back to the input, correct? So that input will be again feeding to the last end. So what is happening is the data will be continuously rotating in the form of a ring. So that's why we are calling this as ring counter. When you look at your output waveform, just look at this output waveform. This is actually 1 here. The first clock pulse 1 1 1 and it continues. Okay, so or you look out this one. First pulse it will be 1, and the second, third, fourth will not be active. The fifth pulse it will be again 1. Why it is becoming 1 means because this output is fed as input to the first one. You can also look at this tabular column which will be more clear. See, for the 0th clock pulse, first flip flop will be active. First clock pulse, second flip flop. Second clock pulse, third flip flop. Third clock pulse, fourth flip flop. And for first clock pulse, again first flop will be active because the output is fed as input for the first flip flop. That's why since it is fed back and it is going in a rotating manner, we are calling this as ring counter. And that's the end of this session, which where we discussed about registers, type of registers, and finally we finished our conclusion, discussion with ring counters and universal shift register. I'll be sharing these presentations in your common forum. Please look into it, and if you have any doubts, please come back to me. I'll explain you wherever you lack. We have with this session we have come to the end of third unit, sequence logic circuit. So far we have covered almost the flip flops, types of flip flops, types of counters, the design of counters and shift registers. uh, Hope you understood and you had a good learning time. Thank you.